This episode of Another Great Day is brought to you by Bottled Water. Water in a bottle. It's Monday, May 8th, 2023. I'm Aaron, and this is my hydrated co-host, Chris.
I did drink some water before I started doing this thing, and I have a pro tip for life hack. You ready for this?
And now, pro tips with Chris.
Right. Imagine that you're working on a truck with wrenches and things, and you got gigantic tires. Mm-hmm. Ignore all that. And sometimes I feel tired, usually around 2:30 in the afternoon.
A dentist's favorite time, 2:30.
And I have been testing this theory out. So this is unverified science.
So a hypothesis. You're putting a hypothesis out there?
That's right, a hypothesis. Right. I go when I'm tired now and I drink about probably 16 ounces of water.
Okay.
So half of one of those large yellow Dickies cups.
Okay, seems reasonable.
And I feel better.
Do you put ice in it?
I do not put ice in it.
So just lukewarm water.
I do lukewarm water all the time.
All right, that's interesting. Well, I'll have to try that out.
It wakes me up most of the time.
I have heard health advice that says the first thing that you should do when you wake up is drink a large glass of water.
I also do this.
Do you really?
I do this. It's the second thing I do.
Oh, you can't see, but Chris is waving his arms around like an octopus. When he says, I do this, he wakes up in the morning and waves his arms like an octopus.
Aaron also did this, and he looks like the mini bosses in Super Mario Bros. 3. Yes.
Anyways, all right. Well, good intro, Chris. Let's go ahead and move on to our Monday-specific segment called What Is It You'd Say You'd Do Around Here? And today's going to feature a special guest.
My name is Glenn Miller, and I'm a music teacher. I teach different kinds of music. I teach boys and girls how to play the piano. I teach them how to play the guitar, and I teach them how to sing better. And then I also teach a bunch of singers at one time, which is called a choir, and we put on concerts sometimes. And what does it smell like? You know, when the music is really sounding awesome, to me it smells like a honeysuckle blossom when you're trying to pull out a little bit of honey and taste it, and it just tastes so good, and the music just sounds so good.
And that'll bring us to this day in history.
Well, how about that? On this day in 1886, Coca-Cola is invented. You know that drink that we Texans don't typically gravitate towards? We tend to gravitate towards Dr. Pepper. Would you agree?
From my experience, yes.
Yes. I'm sure there's people who love Coca-Cola out there. And, do you like Coca-Cola, by the way?
I would rather have, I'm crazy, a Diet Dr. Pepper.
Really?
I have two different stories on this, but we can talk about it later.
Okay, cool. I'd prefer unsweet tea, honestly. That's kind of my go-to drink. Anyways, according to legend, the legend of Dr. John Stith Pemberton, an Atlanta pharmacist, he produced the syrup in a brass pot in his backyard. It was first intended as a patent medicine. But today, Coca-Cola ended up being one of the world's most popular soft drinks and one of the most recognized trademarks in the world. Isn't that crazy?
It is quite crazy.
Imagine you go into your backyard to create a nice barbecue and it ends up becoming this wonderful
worldwide
beverage.
Sensation.
Yeah, how cool is that?
I have a specific story about Coca-Cola growing up.
Oh, okay.
We only ever drank it at my grandparents' house.
Interesting.
In Cisco, Texas.
Shout out Cisco.
And we'd go there, and my grandparents live on this hill overlooking a now unkept country club. So it's now just grass. But we would go and play on the fields and, hang out and do things that were grandparents. But they always had cold Coca-Cola cans.
Nice.
So every time I open up a can of Coke and drink it, I am instantly taken back to childhood. They had no AC in their house. Yeah, and they had no heater. They had one floor gas furnace for the whole house. Anyway, I just remember hot summer days, we'd go there and do things and open up a Coke.
Man, why is it that soft drinks are better out of a glass bottle than out of a can?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And that will do it for this day in history.
All right. This next segment is called the Question of the Day. And if you're new to this, we'll ask a question and encourage you to take a minute to answer the question with those around you. We'll give you about 10 seconds to answer, and if you need more time, feel free to pause the show and come right back. Today's question of the day is, what is your favorite drink? We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good time talking about your favorite drink. Chris, what is your favorite drink?
My favorite drink goes back and forth between water. I crave water often.
Yes, the essence of life.
And Diet Dr. Pepper, which I know sodas are not the greatest for you, so I don't drink them as much anymore.
Nice.
But the reason I didn't realize, I heard a story about Diet Dr. Pepper, which may be just propaganda, but I'm not sure.
Or legend.
Yes.
That
Diet Dr. Pepper was specifically created separate from Dr. Pepper, not to be a diet version of Dr. Pepper, to be its own drink.
So there's Dr. Pepper, and then there's Nurse Practitioner Pepper.
That is diet, I guess. It is specifically its own taste.
Okay.
And
interesting.
I can't even have a regular Dr. Pepper anymore.
Too sweet?
It's too sweet.
I could see that.
Something about the diet is fine. So anyway.
Just kind of just takes it down a notch.
Yeah.
I dig that. I think my favorite drink is when you order a Tiger's Blood snow cone and you get all the ice out and it's just liquid at the bottom. That's my favorite drink of all time.
I feel like, as you say that, I'm remembering we've had this discussion before, because I've said horchata.
Yes.
Which is like
there was a horchata.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk.
Yep. It's so good.
I also like that. I am now remembering.
But not like I just want a little bit. I can't have a lot, like a teaspoon.
That is it. That's one that you cannot have much more than a little bit.
Well, great talk today, Chris. Let's go ahead and move along and check back in with our wonderful dad joke correspondent in the field. Wes is back, and we are so glad to hear from him. Take it away, Wes.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Chris. Man, I had a great vacation. But I've really been thinking about something. Why did Adele cross the road? And I've finally figured it out. And it was to say, hello from the other side.
And hello to you, too.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to another great day. I'm Aaron, and that's Chris, and we're so glad you're here. This part of our show is called the Word of Wisdom. This is where we'll take a minute to go through a proverb or wise saying and give you our take. Here we go.
Today's word of wisdom comes to us from Proverbs 22, verse 5.
The NLT version says, corrupt people walk a thorny, treacherous road. Whoever values life will avoid it.
Ooh, the Amplified version of the Bible says, thorns and snares are in the way of the obstinate, for their lack of honor and their wrongdoing traps them. Wow. That's half of it. He who guards himself with godly wisdom will be far from them and avoid the consequences they suffer.
Wow, if that does not paint a picture in your mind, I think immediately of the intro to Beauty and the Beast, where Maurice gets lost in the woods and there's wolves and the dark forest is there and it's snowing, he's lost and it's scary. That's what it reminds me of, the thorns and snares and things like that if you're going to be a treacherous person. Whereas if you think of, like, I don't know, with a Wizard of Oz, how bright and shiny and beautiful it is as they're going down the yellow brick road at first, that is the way that the godly will walk. So take a few minutes and discuss this amongst yourselves, and we'll be right back with the outro. Well, that'll do it for today. Let's cue the music and wrap things up. Our mission here is to encourage interaction, creativity, and conversation.
So even though today's show may have come to an end, that does not mean your discussions have to come to an end.
We thank you for listening and hope you make it another
great
day. We'll see you tomorrow. Back to reality.
And we are recording.
All right, recording on the recording device. I have no snare in my headphone, Chris. No snare in my headphones.
You also have no headphone.
I also have no headphones. I have a head. I have phone, but I don't have headphones. Actually, I do. They're right over there.
Far away.
Yeah, in that room, that closet. I'm sorry, my recording studio.
Oh, yes. And that'll bring laughter. And that'll bring us to this day in history.
Well, how about that? On this. It's like a combination of Seinfeld and Queen.
That's right.
And Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's right. That's what my brain is.
That's awesome.
It's a combination of Queen, Seinfeld, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Bing ding ba-dee-ba-doo, bam bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. All right, you ready?
I need you to keep making noises.
And I've got friends in low places where the guitars come and the oasis. I don't know the words clearly.
I'm a little bit too loud.
And I'm being too loud.
No, you're great. You need to be right up on your mic.
I'm right up on it.
And you got to be right there, as loud as you can be. So when we make a laughing sound,
you gotta be.
Yeah, you're right. It won't let you clip. I forget about that. Your mic is really good at
clip
that.
Free since '93, as we say.
Yep.
Clippy clip, 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 clip.
Yep.
The end.